Hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you've ever felt that, oh, sting of rejection, I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. Whether it's a job you didn't get, a breakup, or any other setback, rejection can leave us feeling defeated and spiraling about our worth. But what if I told you there's a way to turn our pain into our power? Game? Today, we're going to explore how you can use DBT, aka dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT skills, to embrace rejection. Sound impossible? Well, to be honest with you, a lot of therapy is about learning to, as they say, embrace the suck. So, if we learn to embrace rejection, we can come out the other side much stronger. These aren't just abstract concepts, but practical tools you can use right now to transform your experience. So, stick around because this might be just a game changer for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Megan. Welcome back to the channel if you're new. If you were returning, thank you so much. My backstory is that I am a psychologist. I've been a trauma therapist for 13 years, entrepreneur, mom, business owner. And one of the things that I think is super important and yet very neglected in trauma recovery is the emphasis on feeling good, right? We all want to feel good, but most of us don't, right? So we're looking for ways to feel happy. And so that's what this channel is about. It's tools to help you double your pleasure and get to feeling good on your own terms. So stick with me as we go through the rejection piece. A quick side note, I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist. This is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. The first skill that you need to know is the stop skill. So the stop skill in DBT stands for stop, take a breath, observe, and proceed mindfully. So there's a little bit of a mindset shift that's required with this skill, which is the belief that you can control what happens in here. Okay. So I'm going to give you a both and with that. We have something like tens of thousands of thoughts. I think it's around 60K, right? So 60K thoughts. We're not even aware of a lot of these things, right? So can we control our brain? Yes and no. But can you learn to veto a particular stream of thought? Yes. And that's what I want to help you do. And that's where the stop skill happens. So a lot of times when we get caught in victimhood, we're just like reacting. The words come out of our mouth, we're sending that text. We feel this urgency to do it right away. And a lot of times that's an indicator that we're in crisis or we're in emotional bind. So what I'm going to suggest to you instead is someone lands a criticism, instead of firing back a response, let's stop. I'll give you a little cheat code, okay? One of my backgrounds is that I worked at a holistic treatment center that did DBT, and DBT literally can be life-saving for people. And one of the cheat codes is the whole goal of DBT is to be in wise mind. And the cheat code with wise mind is to wait, okay? Wise mind waits, okay? And we think that responding right away is the thing to do, but often that's more of an impulsive decision. And so what we want to do is we want to proceed mindfully. Now, mindfulness is one of the main topics on this channel. So if you're a newbie to mindfulness, come check out my other videos and playlists on that very topic. The next skill is a mindfulness skill. And so it is non-judgment. So we live in a very judgmental society. Even if you think you're a touchy-feely person like I am, chances are you're probably still making judgments. I like this. I don't like that. It's only human. And so when we talk about non-judgment, especially if we're receiving feedback that is hurtful or critical, it's really important to put that through a filter, okay? So to be totally honest with you, I probably lost about 10 years on YouTube and social media in general by just being too worried to get negative feedback or hate or trolling or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I don't want that to happen to you. If you have dreams like being a content creator, that's probably why you're here. If not, you just want to like feel better, this tip will help as well. And so non-judgment is really about not judging things, okay? And so if someone gives you an insult, we don't want to automatically think that that's true. If there's a piece of constructive feedback in there, I do think we can integrate that. But we really want to just sort of play it off like, well, that's your opinion, right? So one of the things I often say to myself when I'm facing judgment is, what other people think about me is none of my business. So if you're not paying my bills, and if you're not one of my loved ones, then you're entitled to whatever opinion you want. But those are not opinions that I'm going to take super seriously. I'm going to pass it through my VIP circle of who really matters to me and take the feedback accordingly. So if you're just worried about what someone thinks about your outfit, or some person you don't even know on social is leaving you a bad review, that's up to them. We really can't control other people. And so we want to practice non-judgment. And so when someone says something hurtful to us, a lot of times we think they're right, which is another mindset shift. When we practice non-judgment, it's like, oh, okay, that's your opinion. And then again, you can do that like self-growth piece of, is this important for me to know, and sort of reprocess and integrate? Or is it just judgment that's not really that useful for me? The next skill I want to teach you about is radical acceptance. And this is a game changer. Okay. So I think radical acceptance is kind of like letting go, which notoriously everybody I know struggles with, and you do probably as well. And so I want to give you the gift of radical acceptance. So radical acceptance does not mean you have to like it. Radical acceptance simply means that if it's happening to you, if it's in your reality right now, it's in your best interest to accept it. And yet, what do? We fight reality all the time. This shouldn't be happening, or why did they say that to me? Or like, I was just doing good and then this bad thing happened, right? But when we incorporate radical acceptance, we really put the power back in our court. And so even if it's something horrible that happened to you, if you don't fight the experience, you'll actually reduce the suffering. There's a Winston Churchill quote that I love, which is, if you're going through hell, keep going. And this is kind of the strategy of radical acceptance. It's even if something is bad, and usually, let's face it, if it's something good, we just accept it right away. It's the bad stuff that's really hard. Okay, there I go judging, just saying that it's so easy to judge, especially when something bad is happening, because we've already judged it as something bad. However, when we radically accept that sometimes these things are here for our growth, and that if we radically accept them, we can grow from them, it gives you so much more power. I love the quote, you can argue with reality, you'll only be wrong 100% of the time. So if you're like me and you don't like to be wrong, embrace radical acceptance. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's truth with a capital T. It just means if it's showing up in your life, try not to fight it and go with it, even if it's something kind of negative. The next skill that's super important is check the facts, okay? Because when we get triggered, we get an emotional mind. And if this is your brain, when we get triggered, a lot of times we can have an emotional hijacking, which causes us to flip our lid. This very important part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, that has a lot to do with our higher mind judgment and higher order cognitive processes. When we get triggered, we get emotional hijacked. And basically what happens is the HPA axis and amygdala hijacks us, and our logic brain goes temporarily out the window. So when we receive something that's very triggering to us, just know that you're probably an emotional mind. And so what that means is that you're likely to take it more personally. Now, I didn't add this to the list, but I'll just give you a quick little bonus tip. One of the best skills, it's not officially a DBT skill, but I learned it when I was helping people in treatment, is Q-tip. Quit taking it personally. So when we make it about us and embrace that sort of victim, like, oh, how could that person do that to me? I'm hurt. I don't deserve that. That's a lot of victim mentality. That's not to say people who've been victimized don't deserve to have those feelings. They absolutely do. But in general, a victim state is pretty painful. So we don't want to stay in there too long. Okay. So check the facts is really great for this. Okay. If someone gives you a hurtful compliment, we can sort of check the facts. Is that even relevant to me? Is that person's issue? Is it feedback that I want to integrate, or is it something I don't really care about? A lot of judgments actually are preferences. For example, this is controversial. Are you a pineapple pizza person or not? Do you think that's disgusting? Do you think that's best ever? I personally love pineapple and love pineapple on pizza. I get the weirdness with fruit. My husband, I actually converted him to pineapple pizza, but he typically doesn't like fruit mixed with savory things. So, is one right or wrong? No, they're preferences, okay? And so that's what a lot of judgments are. They're preferences. And so those preferences may or may not apply to you. So if someone comes in with, I don't like this about your environment, that might feel really personal. Oh, it's my sacred space. They don't like that lamp looks ugly. But do I really care how they feel about the lamp? I think from a pleasure positive perspective, it's how do I feel about the lamp? Do I like the lamp? Yeah, I do. Like this little squishmallow behind me. Some of my clients love it and serve their favorite thing in the office. And some of my clients are like, why do you have a stuffed animal in here? So is one right or wrong? Not necessarily. And so that's the power of check the facts. We can sort of import that logical mind when we're triggered by checking the facts. So if someone says you're a bad person, you could say, what are the facts that I am a good person? Well, this, and this. And then the bad person comment stings less. Remember in the beginning of the video when I offered you the mindset shift of you can control your mindset, you can dismiss a thought, you can veto a negative thought. Well, that's what turning the mind is all about. We want to turn our mind to things that make us feel good. And really, this is the basis of what I talk about on this channel, which is pleasure positive mindset. So it's really important to think about, do I want to focus on something that's not making me feel good? Sometimes we do because we get stuck there, right? And there's that whole victim thing that kicks up. But in general, do I want to focus on something that makes me feel bad? No, I want to move on as much as possible. And so the way that we can do this is by turning the mind. We can turn the mind to the more positive. We can turn the mind to what we want to focus on. So the stop skill and turn the mind are sort of like a 1-2 process. We want to stop the negative. We want to stop the judgments. We want to stop responding to the triggers in an emotional way. And instead, we want to tap into our wise mind and turn the mind to what is going to serve us best, which is usually doing some self-soothing, doing some repair. And we want to turn the mind to focus on our best selves and our best life and the mindset that'll help us get there. And that's what this channel is all about. If you're a newbie starting with pleasure, I want to offer you a free ebook, which is amazing. And this ebook is really a labor of love. I have a pop quiz that'll help you discover your pleasure profile. And the pleasure profile kind of helps simplify pleasure because everybody wants it. But do you ever kind of feel like, I don't know how to get it? You know, like I feel bad today, but I want to feel good. And usually when we're trying to feel good, sometimes we're not making the best choices, right? We might like jump for the chocolate. And instead, I want to kind of offer you ways to do pleasure without the pesky side effects that come with more addictive levels of pleasure. So come check that out. I'll drop the link down below. And remember, if you got even one piece of useful information from this channel, please feel free to like, subscribe, shout out your bestie. I would really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your precious time, and I hope that these help soften the blows of rejection. I know for me, and as someone who has neurodiversity, I think it's really important to recognize that rejection hurts everybody universally, but there's some of us who are neurodiverse that can really just be wounded by rejection. And honestly, sales and marketing has kind of helped me with that, to develop a thicker skin, and that you have to get so many no's before you can get a yes. So just think of it like sales, you're not for everybody, and that's okay. Wishing you a wonderful, beautiful day. I hope this helps soften any future dealings with criticism or rejection.